Everybody, we gave the governor 30 seconds, but he's still not here, so we're just going to start. Since we have a 10 a.m. start time, on behalf of co-chair Peter Ho, we'd just like to welcome everybody to our first meeting of this House Select Committee on COVID-19 Economic and Financial Preparedness. We just have some brief opening statements to make before we begin. So it was only 2 months ago that the legislature opened our legislative session. And at that time, indicators were positive, and we were looking at a 4% growth rate. The House, Senate, and Governor worked on an unprecedented package to provide cost of living relief, preschool, and affordable housing. And then suddenly, the coronavirus hit all of us. While the state administration has done a commendable job overseeing the medical aspects of coronavirus, we also knew that Hawaii had to be prepared for the economic and financial impact of the virus. The most recent financial emergency occurred during the 2008 financial crisis. During that time, hotel occupancy dropped by 60%, jobs were lost, the state lost $2.1 billion in tax revenue and instituted furlough Fridays and cut essential services such as mental health and homelessness programs. And we are still feeling the effect of those cuts. The House of Representatives created this committee to recommend actions that can be taken by all sectors to secure Hawaii's economy and financial viability. We all know that maintaining public confidence during a time like this is essential for Hawaii's recovery. This committee demonstrates that we are all in this together and that we will be prepared. Okay, thank you very much. So we did have a draft agenda, but I'm going to kind of shift some things around. So we do have some presentations from a few of our committee members, and I wanted to start off with that. So the first presentation is from Carl Bonham, from the Council on Revenues and UHERO.
Good morning. The report that we released on Tuesday, I think it was the 10th, whatever day that was, is now old news and too optimistic. The baseline forecast called for a 7% drop in visitors in 2020 and almost 11% drop in spending. Really, even looking at the data that we see just day to day, in other words, backward-looking data, that forecast is already too optimistic. And the low scenario that we presented in that report, it is looking increasingly likely, at least for the near-term drop. How long this goes on, really no one knows, right? The uncertainty is just enormous in terms of how long the spread continues. Occupancy rates for April, May, if we're lucky, 50%. So, we're talking 30 to 40% drops in occupancy rates. The
success of curtailment or containment and mitigation efforts related to the spread of COVID-19 and the reduction in passenger fear about traveling, which is inherently uncertain. Hawaiian Airlines is Hawaii's oldest and longest serving carrier, proud to serve the travel needs of Hawaii for over 9 decades. We employ almost 7,500 people, nearly 90% of which, or over 90% of which, live in Hawaii. Our company began to see the impact of COVID-19 on demand in late January. Since we do not serve China, the first impacts on demand for our flights was seen in Korea and then in Japan. Through the month of February, forward bookings from these countries weakened relative to prior year levels and cancellations began to rise. By the end of February, cancellations were exceeding new bookings for near-term months, resulting in declining net bookings on a daily basis. In late February, we determined that the conditions in Korea were unlikely to improve in the near term, and we decided to suspend our 5 times per week service from early March until the beginning of May. Today, I would characterize the early May date for resumption of our service as optimistic.